Welcome, fellow truth seekers, to another captivating episode of Conspiracy Chronicles, Unveiling the Truth. I'm your host, Gorkem Yuksel, and today we're delving into the topic that's captured the imaginations of many and ignited a storm of controversy. We're talking about chemtrails. But before we begin, I would like to welcome our new listeners to the podcast. Keep spreading the word. The truth is out there. You just have to listen. We have now set up our Patreon as we seek support from you to keep bringing you these amazing episodes, but also to get you involved and active within our episodes as well. The link to our Patreon page is in the description of our podcast. And as always, if you like what you're hearing on our podcast, please click that follow button and give us a 5-star rating. All right, so what is all this about chemtrails? Well, you probably gazed up in the sky and noticed those white streaks left behind the passing airplanes. To most, they're simply contrails, ordinary condensation trails formed by the interaction of aircraft engines and the atmosphere. But for others, 1 in every 10 Americans, they're a mysterious enigma shrouded in secrets and hidden agendas. So, in this episode, we'll separate fact from fiction as we explore the conspiracy theories surrounding chemtrails. Are these long, white lines a part of a sinister government plot? Are they changing our weather, controlling our minds, or causing harm to our health? Or are they merely a natural consequence of modern air travel? Join us as we embark on a journey to uncover the truth about chemtrails. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, we promise to take you on a thought-provoking ride through the skies of speculation. So fasten your seatbelts and keep your tray tables in their upright positions because, in this episode of Conspiracy Chronicles, Unveiling the Truth, we're soaring into the world of chemtrails, aiming to separate facts from fictions.
It's almost like a religion of thought.
Leave shadows on the clouds.
Look to the heavens, lines in the sky that captivate conspiracy theorists. Chemtrails, followers convinced something evil and secret is going on.
See, and look it. It's got that pattern.
They believe the government or some shadow organization deliberately sprays chemicals to control our minds or to alter the weather.
Okay, I can hear you now. Why are we wasting time on this? Social media has become fertilizer for this conspiracy.
Chemtrails is a term often used in conspiracy theories to describe the white lines or trails left behind by aircraft in the sky. While these trails are scientifically known as contrails, formed by the condensation of water vapor in aircraft engine exhaust, some conspiracy theorists believe that they are actually part of a secret and nefarious government or corporate agenda. Here are some of the common conspiracy theories surrounding chemtrails, and we'll dig a little deeper into each one of these as we move forward. The first one on the list is weather modification. Some conspiracy theorists claim that chemtrails are being used to manipulate the weather. They believe that governments or powerful organizations are seeding the atmosphere with various chemicals to control or modify weather patterns for military, agricultural, or even malicious purposes. The next one on our list is mind control. Another theory suggests that chemtrails are part of a mind control program. Proponents of this theory believe that the chemicals being released into the atmosphere are designed to affect people's mental states, thoughts, or behavior. The next one is health hazards. Some conspiracy theorists claim that the chemicals released in chemtrails are harmful to human health. They argue that chemicals can lead to a range of health problems, including respiratory issues, cognitive impairment, or even diseases like Alzheimer's. The next one, which is one of my personal favorites actually, is population control. There are also theories suggesting that chemtrails are being used for population control purposes, either to reduce the global population or to control specific groups or regions. And our last one on the list is environmental damage. Some conspiracy theorists argue that chemtrails are causing environmental harm, such as soil and water pollution, which can have major ecological consequences. The weather modification theory, particularly in the context of chemtrails, is one of the most prominent and controversial claims associated with the conspiracy theory. It suggests that governments or other powerful entities are using aircraft to dispense chemicals or substances into the atmosphere, which then allegedly influence weather patterns in various ways. Some believe that these chemtrails are being used to manipulate weather conditions for agricultural, military, or economic interests. These could include the ability to create or prevent rain, influence temperature, or even cause droughts or floods in specific areas. Some proponents of the weather modification theory assert that chemicals are used to induce rainfall or prevent droughts in specific regions. They argue that certain chemicals or particles released from the aircraft have the ability to seed clouds and encourage precipitation. Another claim is that chemtrails are used to weaken or divert hurricanes. The idea is that the chemicals released into the atmosphere can alter the behavior of weather systems. The science behind hurricanes and tropical storms is well understood. These are massive and complex weather systems driven by factors like temperature, humidity, and the rotation of the Earth. The notion that chemicals released into the atmosphere could significantly impact such systems is not supported by meteorological research. Now, I'm not saying all governments are ethical or purely looking out for our best interests, but if you look at the bigger picture, the governments have much to brag about if they can actually seed clouds to induce or prevent rain. The ability to seed clouds and create rain in times of extreme drought or fight wildfires with downpours of rain, as well as prevent rain in areas where flash floods, mudslides, and other catastrophic outcomes come into play, can be deemed as life-saving efforts. There is absolutely no reason for governments to keep this kind of technology a secret from the public. Another aspect of this theory is the notion of geoengineering, where chemicals released into the atmosphere are intended to combat climate change by reflecting sunlight away from the Earth, or by capturing carbon dioxide. This is a distinct but related concept to chemtrails, known as solar radiation management or stratospheric aerosol injection. While geoengineering is a legitimate area of research, the methods proposed in chemtrail theories, such as releasing reflective particles into the atmosphere, are largely unproven and carry significant environmental and ethical concerns. These concepts are debated within the scientific community but are distinct from chemtrail claims. It's important to understand the difference between contrails and chemtrails. Contrails are formed by water vapor in aircraft engine exhaust and are a natural occurrence, while chemtrails, as described in conspiracy theories, are alleged to contain chemicals designed for weather modification. In summary, the claims that chemtrails are used in weather modification are primarily based on anecdotal observations and speculative ideas. They lack credible scientific evidence and are inconsistent with our understanding of atmospheric science and meteorology. Weather modification does exist as a field of study and practice, but the methods and scale proposed in chemtrail conspiracy theories are not supported by reputable scientific research. The claim that chemtrails are used in mind control is one of the more far-fetched and controversial aspects of chemtrail conspiracy theories. Proponents of this idea suggest that the chemicals or substances allegedly being released from the aircraft in the form of chemtrails are intended to influence human behavior, thoughts, or emotions. Conspiracy theorists argue that the chemicals dispersed in chemtrails contain mind-altering substances such as psychotropics or mood-altering agents. They claim that these substances are used to control or manipulate the thoughts and behavior of the general population. Contrails, the white lines left behind by aircraft, are primarily composed of ice crystals and do not contain the kind of chemicals that could influence human thought or behavior. Scientific analysis of contrails has not shown any mind-altering agents. The conspiracy theories often fail to provide a coherent explanation of how these alleged mind-altering substances would be disseminated, reach the ground, and enter the human body in sufficient quantities to have any effect. The scientific and logistical challenges of such a scenario are rarely addressed. Also, routine air quality monitoring does not detect unusual or harmful substances linked to chemtrails. This includes testing for atmospheric contaminants and pollutants. Critics of these claims point out that similar mind control conspiracy theories have been proposed in the past, such as television signals or radio waves, and they have consistently lacked credible evidence. The conspiracy theories surrounding chemtrails and mind control often rely on pseudoscientific jargon and terminology, making them appear more credible to those who are not well versed in science. Believers may selectively interpret unrelated events or phenomena as, and I put this in air quotes, evidence of mind control, attributing them to chemtrails without a sound basis. In summary, claims that chemtrails are used for mind control purposes are not supported by credible scientific evidence. These theories tend to rely on speculation, pseudoscience, and anecdotal reports rather than rigorous research. The population control theory related to chemtrails is one of the more extreme and controversial aspects of chemtrail conspiracy beliefs. It posits that the contrails left behind by aircraft are not just innocuous vapor trails, but are actually part of a covert program to control or reduce the global population. Proponents of this theory argue that the chemicals allegedly released in chemtrails contain substances that affect human fertility, making it difficult for people to conceive or have healthy children. They claim that these substances could be used to decrease the birth rate worldwide. Some proponents suggest that chemicals in chemtrails have adverse health effects that can lead to a decline in population. This could include respiratory issues, cognitive impairments, and chronic illnesses that may reduce life expectancy. There are claims that the alleged chemtrail program targets specific groups or regions for population control. This could be based on ethnicity, nationality, or socioeconomic status, leading to the concerns about potential discrimination or human rights violations. One of the more extreme versions of this theory suggests that chemicals in chemtrails are actually sterilizing agents meant to prevent reproduction. This is often portrayed as a means of ensuring that the world's population does not grow beyond what certain groups or organizations find manageable. Some conspiracy theorists assert that the secretive global elite, such as the New World Order or shadowy government agencies, are responsible for orchestrating this population control plan. Belief in population control through chemtrails is often seen as an extreme and fringe belief. It is essential to critically evaluate these claims, rely on reputable sources, and consult experts in relevant fields to understand the scientific realities behind atmospheric science, aviation, and public health. Conspiracies like this can spread misinformation and create unnecessary fear and distrust. Conspiracy theories involving chemtrails typically rely on anecdotal and speculative claims that lack credible scientific support. While such theories may be widely circulated on the internet and within certain communities, they do not provide substantiated evidence. Here are some of the common types of uncredible evidence or arguments put forth by conspiracy theorists. Up first, we have anecdotal reports. Proponents of these theories often cite personal anecdotes or stories from individuals who claim to have experienced unusual or altered mental states after observing chemtrails. These reports are subjective and not scientifically verifiable. Anecdotal reports are often a common feature of conspiracy theories. These reports are typically personal accounts or stories from individuals who claim to have experienced unusual or altered mental states after observing chemtrails. Some individuals assert that they have observed chemtrails in the sky and subsequently experienced changes in their mood, cognition, or physical well-being. They attribute these changes to the presence of mind-altering agents in the chemtrails. In certain cases, conspiracy theorists might cite incidents or behavioral anomalies within communities and link them to chemtrail observations. They claim that changes in the behavior of people or in specific area coincide with the appearance of chemtrails. Some anecdotal reports suggest that individuals have reported experiencing physical symptoms such as headaches, dizziness, or fatigue after observing chemtrails. These symptoms are often attributed to the alleged presence of mind-altering agents. Conspiracy theorists sometimes share stories of altered perception, claiming that they or others have seen strange or unusual things after observing chemtrails. These stories may involve vivid dreams, hallucinations, or other perceptual changes. Next up, we have selective interpretation. Believers in chemtrail conspiracy theories may selectively interpret unrelated events or phenomena as quote-unquote evidence of mind control, attributing them to chemtrails without a sound basis. This selective interpretation can include events like unusual behavior in a community, societal changes, or even personal experiences. Claims involving selective interpretation of unrelated events or phenomena as quote-unquote evidence of mind control through chemtrails can vary widely. These claims often draw connections between observed societal changes, individual experiences, or unusual events and the presence of chemtrails. Some conspiracy theorists have claimed that they observe unusual changes in human behavior, such as increased aggression, anxiety, or altered thought patterns, which they attribute to the presence of chemtrails. They argue that these changes are a result of mind-altering substances released from the aircraft. A related claim suggests that chemtrails are used to exacerbate political polarization and social unrest. Believers in this story argue that the chemtrail-induced mind control agents are causing people to become more extreme in their beliefs and behavior. Some conspiracy theorists have pointed to unexplained epidemics or outbreaks of certain health conditions as evidence of chemtrail-induced mind control. They may attribute the rapid spread of certain illnesses to substances released from chemtrails. In some instances, conspiracy theorists connect changes in weather patterns such as extreme weather events to the presence of chemtrails. They argue that these changes are part of a larger plan to manipulate and control human behavior through environmental manipulation. Claims involving selective interpretation often rely on coincidental events or correlations. For example, a person might observe chemtrails in the sky and subsequently attribute any unusual event or behavior they witness to the presence of those chemtrails. Now, number 3 on our list is pseudoscientific jargon. The use of scientific-sounding terminology and concepts is common in these conspiracy theories. However, the terminology is often misapplied or misunderstood, creating an illusion of scientific credibility without the backing of actual scientific research or principles. Proponents of chemtrail conspiracy theories may use scientific terminology or concepts inaccurately or out of context to make their claims appear more scientifically grounded. For example, they may reference concepts related to atmospheric science, chemistry, or neuroscience in ways that do not align with the scientific consensus. Some conspiracy theorists might invoke terms like neurotransmitters, nanoparticles, or ionospheric heaters without a clear understanding of the scientific principles behind these terms. These references can create an illusion of scientific sophistication while lacking scientific substance. The use of pseudoscientific jargon can be an attempt to lend credibility to claims that are not supported by credible scientific evidence. It can make these claims more convincing to individuals who are not well versed in the relevant scientific disciplines. Now, number 4 on our list is misinterpretation of air quality data. Some proponents claim that air quality monitoring or atmospheric testing has revealed the presence of mind-altering agents associated with chemtrails. However, this is often a misinterpretation of data, as routine air quality testing does not detect the presence of the specific substances described in these theories. Claims involving the misinterpretation of air quality data in the context of chemtrail conspiracy theories are often based on the assumption that atmospheric testing or air quality monitoring has detected the presence of mind-altering agents or harmful substances in the wake of chemtrails. Some conspiracy theorists claim that the air quality measurements taken in areas where chemtrails are observed have shown elevated levels of specific substances that are allegedly used for mind control or mood alteration. These substances may include barium, aluminum, or other chemicals. The implication is that these substances are coming from chemtrails. Now, proponents of these theories may point to a correlation between the presence of certain chemicals in the atmosphere and the observation of persistent contrails. They then suggest that the contrails are the source of these chemicals, even when there is no scientific evidence to establish a causal relationship. Some conspiracy theorists may selectively choose specific data points or results from air quality testing that appear to support their claims, while ignoring a broader context that might provide alternative explanations for the observed data. This selective use of data can create a misleading impression. Claims related to air quality data in chemtrail conspiracy theories may exaggerate the significance of trace amounts of certain substances found in the atmosphere. While it is true that various elements and compounds can be detected in trace amounts in the environment, this does not necessarily indicate a nefarious plot. It's important to note that reputable scientific studies and monitoring programs have not substantiated these claims. Air quality data may indeed show the presence of various compounds, but these are typically at levels that are consistent with natural background levels, industrial emissions, or other common sources. Assertions that such data prove the existence of mind-altering agents in chemtrails lack credible scientific support. Now, our last but not least is number 5, speculative claims. Many conspiracy theories related to chemtrails and mind control are based on speculative assertions rather than empirical evidence. The claims often lack a coherent and scientifically plausible explanation for how these alleged agents could be dispersed, remain airborne, and affect humans at ground level. Conspiracy theories often fail to provide a coherent explanation for how the alleged mind-altering substances are dispersed into the atmosphere. They do not specify how these agents are introduced into the contrails or how they are released in a manner that allows for widespread dissemination. These claims rarely address the complex interactions between chemicals, atmospheric conditions, and altitude. The process of introducing chemicals into the upper atmosphere and having them descend to the Earth's surface in a potent form is not explained scientifically. Theories lack credible evidence or detailed mechanisms for how the substances, if present in the atmosphere, would come into contact with humans on the ground in concentrations sufficient to have any discernible impact on behavior or cognition. These theories do not account for the significant logistical and technical challenges of implementing such a widespread mind-altering program without detection, as well as the need for secrecy and coordination on a global scale. These claims do not align with the principles of established science, including physics, chemistry, and meteorology. The composition and behavior of contrails are well understood, and the introduction of mind-altering agents into them does not follow the laws of nature. There is no scientific research, experimentation, or testing to support these claims. Such research would require rigorous scientific investigation and would be subject to ethical, safety, and environmental regulations. In summary, claims of mind-altering agents in chemtrails are often rooted in speculative assertions and fail to provide a credible scientific framework for how such a program could function. They do not account for the complexities of the atmosphere, human exposure, or the considerable logistical and technical challenges involved in implementing such a scheme. As a result, these claims lack the foundation of established scientific principles and evidence. So, my loyal truth seekers, as we bring this episode of Conspiracy Chronicles to a close, it's essential to reflect on what we've uncovered about chemtrail conspiracies today. We've journeyed through the enigmatic world of chemtrails, exploring the claims, the theories, and the debates surrounding them. From weather manipulation to mind control, these conspiracy theories have ignited the imagination of many. But as we've delved deeper, we've discovered that they are built on shaky ground, lacking credible evidence and scientific support. As we conclude today's episode, we encourage you, our curious listeners, to approach conspiracy theories with a critical eye and an open mind. While intrigue can be captivating, it's essential to rely on credible sources and established scientific principles when evaluating such claims. I've been your host, Gorkem Yuksel, and this has been Conspiracy Chronicles Unveiling the Truth. Until next week, stay curious, stay informed, and most of all, stay connected.